This is macOS Ken.
Another mildly mixed message from Wall Street. News around Apple stuff we can't see. And Microsoft's sad-sounding iMessage integration. It is Thursday, the 27th of April, 2023. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from macOS Ken. Brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. Use code macOSKen50 at factormeals.com/macOSKen50 for 50% off your first box. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. I'm tempted to say that mixed messages from Wall Street continue, but that would really just be a desire to continue this week's theme. And yet the temptation is there in the wake of a new note from Barclays. The site investing.com says that firm has raised its price target on Apple shares, despite the firm not really being into Apple shares. The way Barclays sees it, March quarter earnings will be in line with expectations, while the June quarter will be filled with swings and misses. For the current quarter, the firm sees Apple bringing in revenue of $80 billion. That would be down 4% versus the same quarter a year ago. It would also miss the Street's expectation of $84 billion in revenue. Barclays is also looking for Apple to sell 43 million iPhones in the June quarter, undercutting the Street's expectations by 3 million units. Of course, that's not a thing that Apple is going to confirm, but just know Barclays expects disappointment. So what's with raising the price target? I guess even with the bad tidings, the firm decided it was expecting a little too little from those shares. They're holding on to their neutral rating on Apple stock while upping their 12-month price target from $145 to $149. A soggy target it is. Apple closed trading Wednesday at $163.76. News of the currently non-existent Apple's mixed reality headset is rumored to be in the final sprint. That is the word from Economic Daily News by way of Apple Insider. According to the piece, Foxconn subsidiary GIS has a production line fired up for the lens assembly for the headset. The lenses are then in turn provided to a company called Lixoon for assembly. That same report says volume production of the headset is expected to start late in the current quarter, so sometime before the end of June. That fits in nicely with ongoing rumor and speculation that Apple will reveal its mixed reality marvel at WWDC at the beginning of June. Two things to note, though. First, Apple Insider says even if that is the case, that Apple is about to start production of the MR/VR/AR thing, doesn't mean consumers will see it anytime soon. Well, doesn't mean they'll have access. It's possible that those builds are for developer devices like the ones Apple made available in the transition from PowerPC to Intel and from Intel to Apple Silicon. And the second thing, these builds may not be happening as rumored, coming as they do from unnamed sources. One way or the other, we'll know in about 6 weeks. Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference kicks off on Monday, the 5th of June. News of something that does exist, though apparently not a thing about which we were supposed to know yet. Mac Rumor says there is a new set of Beats Studio Buds Plus on the way. These have been rumored for a while. References to the stoppers were first found in iOS 16.4 code back in March. The piece says they also turned up in FCC filings, which we missed while I was away. The part where we're not supposed to know about them officially seems to have been blown by Amazon. Mac Rumors says the new devices turned up on the Superseller site on Wednesday, providing a closer look at new features and changes before they're officially announced. One of the most striking changes is the color, or lack thereof. 3 hues from which to choose: black, ivory, and transparent, according to the report. As for functionality, the listing indicates that the larger microphones and air vent changes will give the Buds Plus up to 1.6 times as much active noise cancellation and up to 2 times improved transparency mode as the original Studio Buds. Battery life also sees an improvement, shooting from 24 hours on a full charge to 36. The earbuds are listed with an 18th of May release date and a $169.95 price, none of which you can check for yourself. MacRumors updated its initial story saying, Amazon has removed the listing for now. Let the congregation say, oops. One more surprise blown for Apple. A piece from Apple Insider says Twitter users Aaron P613 and Nicholas09F9 have found assets showing off this year's Apple Watch Pride offerings. Pride Month is every June, the piece points out, and Apple usually releases new Apple Watch bands and a watch face in celebration. And it looks like they're at it again. The new face seems to feature rainbow sprinkles. As for the part that makes the wearable wearable, the piece says the snippet of the watch band visible in the provided images shows what might be a sport loop with the sprinkles scattered across. Not that you can check for yourself. Nicholas09F9 says the server on which he spotted the assets has since had the assets pulled. The wait will not be interminable, though. Apple Insider says the Pride bands and watch faces are usually announced sometime in May, ahead of June celebrations. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. The special lady friend and I have both been trying Factor, and she had some great things to say about the spicy jalapeno beef bowl. She says the creamy cauliflower mash was outstanding. The flavor and texture were so perfect, she didn't miss the potatoes. The jalapeno beef was moist and full of flavor, not dry, the way a lot of ready meals can be, and the two together were nicely complementary. The heat and savory beef contrasted really well with the creamy cauliflower. They were each great on their own, or as a shared forkful. Yeah, I've been so focused on the mains, I totally forgot to tell you about how great the sides have been as well. From Calorie Smart, to keto, to vegan plus veggie, and more, there is a lot to love from Factor. But find out for yourself. Head to factormeals.com/macOSken50 and use code macOSken50 to get 50% off your first box. That's code macOSken50 at factormeals.com/macOSken50 to get 50% off your first box. factormeals.com/macOSken50 and code macOSken50. And a big thanks to Factor for sponsoring today's show. More betas from Cupertino, this time for a bigger group. A day after Apple released a slew of betas to its developer program, at least some of those are out to public testers. MacRumors ran 2 related reports Wednesday, one saying that the third betas of iOS and iPadOS 16.5 were out to the testing program, and the other saying the same for the third beta of macOS Ventura 13.4. If you're in the public testing program, you know what happens next. If you're not, but wish you were, you can find out more at beta.apple.com. Another interesting day for folks with one foot in the Apple camp and the other in the Windows world. A number of sites, including 9to5Mac, ran stories Wednesday saying that Microsoft was rolling out support for iMessage on Windows 11. It was back in February that Mr. Softy started testing iMessage on Windows through its Phone Link app. Now 9to5Mac has the Redmond crew saying that the feature is opening for everyone running Windows 11. Sounds great, though to call the experience hobbled might be an understatement. The report lists a number of limitations. Among them, your full message history won't sync. You'll only see messages that have been sent or received using Phone Link. You can't send pictures or videos in messages. No support for group conversations. And all messages appear in gray. Otherwise, it's awesome. Why would Apple go along with this? Well, it hasn't. 9to5Mac says the latest version of Phone Link for Windows and iOS uses Bluetooth to connect iPhone and a Windows PC to pass along SMS texts and iMessages, and explains the lack of anything, and maybe don't get used to what you got. The piece points out, since this is not an official integration of iMessage blessed by Apple, it's possible the company could pursue and implement a way to block Microsoft's Phone Link support. Or maybe it'll just make Windows users so sad they switch. And finally today, what could be a big comedy for Apple TV Plus got a trailer on Wednesday. Cult of Mac says the world has had its first look at the Rose Byrne Seth Rogen series, Platonic. According to the streamer, Platonic follows a platonic pair of former best friends approaching midlife who reconnect after a long rift. The duo's friendship becomes all-consuming and destabilizes their lives in a hilarious way. Way not for kids, this one. Though it looks great if you like such Rogen Byrne offerings as Neighbors or Rogen's The Night Before. The trailer is up now on YouTube. Platonic starts its Apple TV Plus run on Wednesday, the 24th of May. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Factor. Use code macOSKen50 at factormeals.com/macOSKen50 for 50% off your first box. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.